Ladies and gentlemen, the show is about to start in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening. Welcome to another edition of that Millwall podcast, the number one interactive Millwall fan show anywhere out there on the internet. Some others will try, but please do never ever accept substitutes to that Millwall podcast. Good evening. Hopefully you all enjoyed the thumbnail. What I did, Stephen didn't really know a lot about it, so yep, it is what it is. So we are joined by the one and only negative Dan. I have had someone text in and message me, by the way, and said, Dan, when he isn't talking, tell him to stay the fuck off his phone.
All right. I'll absolutely do my best to stay off my phone. I'm sorry.
So, because all they can see is you looking as if you're not interested, and
I promise I am.
That's it.
I'm trying to show everyone how rubbish my haircut is, though. So
I said to him, look, he doesn't care. I said, he's just negative Dan. I said that's what it is. He's more worried googling Harry Potter items for sale on on eBay than he is about any.
I think you mean I'm too busy checking the train times, mate.
Yeah, I was going to say not Harry Potter items. It's old train whistles and hats and tickets and stuff, isn't it?
As it says.
No, they're sitting it. So yeah, the bless him. Right. Good evening to Dan. Hope you're well, mate, and good evening to you, Husbullah.
Oh, this is outrageous.
Mate, you think it's outrageous? You wait till a little tiny bit when I go and open up the presents what I've been getting, and I'll show you them in a second, mate. I do not know what the fuck is in them because I am not allowed to. I wasn't allowed to open them until I was live on show. Until I was live on air. So yeah, I mean, look, this is what come through earlier. This come through R5.
Look, there's a comment. There's a couple of comments coming up shortly from Bailey.
Bear with me one second. We should be able to hopefully see your comments come through from Twitter. We might not be able to if you are trialing. We might not be able to. We might have to look at it manually, but we are trying to come through with it. So yeah, look, Peter thinks it's classic. Evening, gents. Yesterday's result doesn't matter on to Borough next Saturday winning ways. So, yeah, go on. Stephen, what would you like to say?
No, I was just saying there's a couple of comments. This first one, Bailey, looking forward to hearing all about the game. Stephen went yesterday, got a few pelters on Twitter for seeing it differently to the rest of us. Can you put up the next one as well? The next quote from Bailey. Nothing like a home and away fan who dedicates time to doing a podcast being called fickle, although I do think you were wrong with your Fleming opinion yesterday. He was good, especially first half. First of all, Bailey, thank you very much. I did get pelters on Twitter yesterday for my opinion on Zian Fleming. I'm going to add on to... Hold on. I'm going to add on to his home and away fan who dedicates time to being a podcast, also dedicates his time to being called Hasbullah by the comments and
he's not going to let this go, is he? Fucking hell.
And Dan Riggs.
It doesn't fucking say anything about Husbullah, the fucking cheeky cunt. He needs to realise that
he is not letting this down, is he?
No, he's still going on in the chat. Can you see him? You're obviously
we can see him.
You can see him on the bottom. He's just going, same to you, Stephen. It's disgusting. Don't ever do that again. He won't do that again. He's
no,
not.
he won't.
He won't. No,
that's not your style.
No. Hello.
I will.
He don't shut up, does he? Is he going to shut up? I think what we need to say, right, is that the problem is with Twitter is that you only get 240, unless you're what do you call it, then you can get 10,000 characters.
Yeah.
But you just get 240 characters. And I think what he meant was is that he's better than what he has been, but he's still not the full article. Is that what you meant?
I'm saying nothing. Screw you both. You do show on your own. No, on a serious note, that on the comments on Fleming, I was heavily criticised for my opinion on Zian Fleming yesterday. To clarify, he took his goal very well, and he did get a very good assist. He won his header, which I think you'd come to expect, but he still needed to do the right things in and around the box. But from the halfway line to the box, and where I think that's where what he's supposed to be doing in this team, he's too slow. I think he wants too much time on the ball. And ultimately, I just think we need a little bit more. Yeah, he got his goal and assist. Yes, he hopefully that sparks him into gear. I'm not using him as a scapegoat. I think there were far worse players than him out there yesterday. But if he's going to play in an attacking midfielder position, and he's going to have to be more effective when he's on the ball and trying to drive us forward. That's what I was trying to say. That's what I was trying to get across. But people just jump on the fact that you got to go on assist, and what more do you want?
So
that's what I was trying to say.
So what Stephen said is too illiterate to actually write what he meant. But then again, he is only little, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? Bless. You hate me,
Dan Riggs. Do you know what, mate? Do you know what? You are captain, leader, legend. But as I've just put comment in the chat, I want as many bold references and as many bold characters from sitcoms, from the world of sport.
You're really brave,
it's fine. It's fine. I'm gonna get slaughtered anyway.
I'll just show you. Look. Okay.
Look like you've been to the fish and chip shop, mate.
Yeah, mate. This is kebab.
I've got glasses case. A little.
I'm just going to rattle through some more comments quickly, Mickey, while you're showing everyone.
Okay, but that's not there. That's other bits. But this is the bit, young Stephen. I have until I see a comment from Rich, I won't actually open it until he's here. But look at that. And look, I can't fucking see it, but these feel fairly big. These feel like frames or something, mate, where I've got no idea. Until I see a comment from Rich to say, that he's home.
He is.
I believe he is in the chat. He's put evening in already.
We have got something for...
Not me, other Dan Riggs in the chat.
Dan Riggs, which I'll open and show you, and then you go see the lads to do it. I have also got something for...
us as a collective gift.
Yep. And I also have something. And listen, Lou and Richard, thank you very, very much. Look.
Boys.
It says boys charity key rings. There's Richard. Going forward, we were okay. Just needed to finish. I know that's not the same Richard.
That's not the same Richard. But Richard, who's dropped you those, is in the chat. I'm sure he is.
Yeah, I'm just working my way through the comments quickly for you, Mickey.
Oh, there's someone that gets it. There we go.
I wouldn't. Not sure I agree with that.
No, you missed it. You missed it.
This was Stephen. This was Stephen's comment.
No, yeah.
I also noticed, I think Omar's in the chat as well with the Hasbulla crap. So
don't worry, Omar might be joining us in a bit.
He might be, yeah.
Oh, good. Another one.
Unfortunately, Ben can't join us tonight.
That's okay. He's is what it is. He will be here at some point on another one. So yeah. What's up, gentlemen? Watching from cold. So James. No, James. You've answered all my questions because you must be, I think you are my only listener in South Korea. And it's blown my mind that there's someone there. And I wanted to know whether or not it was a South Korean or if it was an expat living out there. So let me know. Are you an expat living out there or you're on holiday? Because you might not be the same one, but there is some out there. So yeah. Does Fleming not follow you on Instagram, Hasbulla?
Oh boy. Can we talk about the game yesterday, or
yeah. Come on then, let's have a post-match reaction from Hasbulla.
We were the better team. I tweeted yesterday, we were good, they were clinical, and I think that pretty much sums up the game. They took their chances. We didn't take many of ours until probably the first goal. We got ourselves back into the game, and we made a bit of a go of it. The second one maybe a little bit too late, but we were the better team. I thought Duncan Watmore was outstanding in his position. I thought he'd definitely stake a claim to be starting next week, and I think Middlesbrough's one of his old. Did we sign him from Middlesbrough? I think we did.
I understand who he is now. Who's that American who's married to a South Korean?
But yeah, Duncan Watmore deserves a starting spot next week. As I said, I touched a little bit on Fleming. He's got his goal. Hopefully that sparks him back into life a little bit. But we did have a few poor performances. I thought Kevin Nisbet struggled.
Struggles every week.
Well, I think he's. I'm starting to lose a little bit of faith with him. In all honesty, but it's really difficult. It's disappointing to lose the game yesterday, but we were the better side, and the signs are encouraging. Apart from the growing injury list,
yeah, I suppose the growing injury list is a nightmare. But
yeah I was about to say.
Can you, as you're playing around with the comments tonight, can you go back to Connor at 9:09, please?
Yes, mate. This one.
That's it. Thoughts on the low attendance yesterday, and do you think the club could have done more to get fans down? Something what we've been talking about to agree in the chat, and yes. We were all thinking that maybe the club could have done more to a degree. They could have potentially done bring a mate, £5 ticket.
Should have been maybe, 10. Should have been 10,
or even a tenner.
Anyway, to be honest, I mean, you saw Leicester bought 3,000 down, didn't they? And that's for a cup game. We'll play them in the league again. I don't know when we do, but it's probably in February or March. So
no, it's a bit later than that. It's April.
Is it a bit later than that? Okay.
Yeah,
still, my point stands. We are still playing them again in a very short space of time, and obviously they'll bring another 3,000 for that. I think I'm just going to let my fellow namesake answer that question on my behalf. I just think that kind of says it all. To be completely honest,
how many FA Cup ties have we won in front of a packed house? Poor decision from the club. As fans, we all want these big Prem ties, and I don't think we did enough as a club to get the fans that.
It didn't help. It didn't help either that if you weren't a season ticket holder, the ticket price was £20.
Yeah,
and I just think I know I'm aware that in the FA Cup that you have to agree on ticket prices and ticket availability and stuff like that with the other team. So both sides together have to reach an agreement. But why? I mean, Leicester sold out. Fair enough, they did what they did. They brought a great attendance. Good for them. But for us, £20 for a non-season ticket holder for a cup game, which turning up, a lot of us thought we might have been playing some of the youngsters or making quite a few changes. I think they got it wrong yesterday. I think they got it wrong.
Yeah, I mean, obviously not opening up the ground is just, I think that's poor. The demand's clearly there at the minute because we are selling out, even in kind of what we think are kind of nothing league games. Like, I wouldn't have put money on us selling out against Norwich. Obviously, I don't know whether it was obviously Coventry, Edwards' first game. I kind of get that, but we've sold out probably more home games this season than we haven't sold out. So the demand's definitely there. And I also don't think, although I do suspect this was out of the club's hands with so many London teams playing in FA Cup third round at home, I think the 12:30 kickoff didn't really help. I mean, I didn't actually mind the 12:30 kickoff because I was home at 4 o'clock. So,
yeah, but a lot of people didn't even know it was 12:30 until it was said on the show.
That's what I mean. So yeah. I think that obviously, like, I only bought my ticket on the Friday during the day, and I said to my dad, "Do you want to go?" And my dad was like 50-50. I was like, "It's a 12:30 kickoff." My dad was like, "Absolutely not." Then, so I don't think that helped, but I also don't think the club probably had too much of a say in that factor. To be completely honest, I assume that was probably more directed to them by the police.
Ticket selling details need to be agreed by both
Yeah,
clubs.
they do.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
But that shouldn't determine that the price is set at 20 quid. It just shouldn't for a cup game. I think we know that Millwall are trying to do things differently off the field, but there's still a lot of work to be done. And I think in the grand scheme of our season, it's not going to define our season, but you could potentially we could have won that game yesterday. We really could have won the game yesterday, and we could have had a decent crowd there watching it. But we move on.
I think Omar has a point. I think he was banging the drum all week about it on both online and in our group, and maybe the club thought that because of the amount of people who Leicester were bringing, that they thought that actually, if we get 3,000-4,000 Leicester and then as many fans as we get, we're still going to get a good attendance anyway. So,
what did is it? You have to split FA Cup tickets. 50/50
yeah, you do
as well.
Yeah,
so
all revenues fit. Yeah,
there isn't much enticement from the club there, is there? All of a sudden, I'm just going to go back a couple of comments quickly, Mickey. Just going to pop this one on. We have another injury. Well, we have another 2 injuries. Obviously, Amaki wasn't in the squad. He's dislocated his shoulder, for those who aren't aware, and Leonard's that did his hammy during yesterday's game.
How the fuck did he dislocate his shoulder though? Because that's not easy to do.
No. So I guess it just adds petrol to the fire that we just do Royal Rumble in training. So have we got any players out on loan? Well, 5 out of the 6 players that we had out on loan are coming back to the club as of tomorrow. So
I think Abdul Malik's already back, isn't he? Because he played for the
Abdul Malik only went out on a 1-month loan. Obviously, Joe Wright. If they name Joe Wright in a match day squad, say as if Joe Wright's in the squad against Middlesbrough, then he can't go out again on loan because he's played for an EFL team. But don't think National League teams quite hit that threshold. So I think off the top of my head, a Coley, for example, could be in the match day squad against Middlesbrough. Then we sign someone, and then we could send a Coley out on loan to someone like Sutton United.
Where, I think you're going to find that a lot of Millwall's players that are on the fringe are going to end up at Sutton in the foreseeable future. Obviously, with Steve Morrison taking the manager's job there. Good luck to him. Hope it works out well. He's got Aidan O'Brien and Harry Smith as his strike force. So, but I'm sure we'll be sending a few players.
Yeah,
we'll have a few there.
Obviously,
we will.
And then maybe Cambridge will be their next step after that as well.
Maybe we'll come back to that one, Mark. But it is one to sit there and
Mickey, can I just put one more comment up that we did have up very briefly on this one? The club tweeted another sellout. That was actually for the QPR game. I believe the QPR tickets now have sold out. Didn't even get to members.
No, club balance is out. What fans are expected compared to their running costs, especially a 12:30 kickoff. And being January, there are a lot of people balancing their finances. Yeah, Nesbitt needs a run of games. He also needs to be less selfish and cross the ball. Talking of prices, how can the FA accept £39 a ticket? You see, again, we'll go back to this. When I was found on the board, we had this with Leeds. Leeds basically.
Bingo.
Leeds basically. When we got the refund for Leeds a while back, where everyone pretty much gave it to charity anyway, the difference. But what happens with a lot of these clubs now is that if you look at a lot of grounds you go around now, the away end isn't necessarily behind the dugout, behind the goals no more. They're in the section. And what they do is they have to have the opposite side of wherever you put people. The equivalent ticket to their home fans is the price you can charge away fans. So at Leeds, they've put you in the main stand as such. Opposite, pretty much on the home fan side, are the most expensive tickets. And what you'll probably find with QPR is they put their tickets up, and that's why. Because if they're not the same, then you pretty much can do. They're not allowed to charge you more than the equivalent place with that. And also, while we're talking about when I was found on the board, those 2 lads were pictured. Yes, I was, John. Yeah, just for a couple of years, but yeah, just on my experience, and I'll tell you a story as well to back it. Is that those 2 lads who did the helicopter, alleged helicopter suggestion to the Leicester, and unfortunately got themselves video doing it. I will be surprised if the club doesn't ban them for life straight off, and I will be very, very surprised now under the new football laws what have come in to do with hatred or disaster chanting that they potentially won't get a football ban. That the police won't try and do that because they have a zero tolerance around this at the moment, and press and everything else will jump up and down on it. So standard, I think they'll probably get a lifetime ban from the club, or at least a 3-5 year ban from the club as such. They might be lucky with a behaviour order, which just basically means that you promise they'll probably be banned for the end of the season, and then they're allowed back next season, but they have to promise that they will behave. Otherwise, it will be a lifetime ban. This is just standard stuff what the club does to guarantee it. The fact that the club is preaching every single game now, no hatred speech, no hatred chants, all of this sort of stuff to cover their own arse. That's why these two lads will be fucked. I remember when I was found on a board, there was a lad who I'm not going to mention, but if he's listening, you're more than welcome to mention yourself. It's down to you. Who was kicked out, and I think he was de-arrested and kicked out, and was going to be potentially banned by the club, but he didn't, for allegedly starting a chant of "You're a town full of nonces" when Rotherham come many years ago. And he was arrested for that, and he was taken out of the ground and banned, and had a letter of banning pretty much because he was accused of starting the chant of "You're a town full of nonces." So with the new regs coming in, and I'm looking to do a show with a lawyer shortly to go through a lot of these laws. It's madness. I'm not going to get into the right or wrongs of football chants and, who ate all the pies and you fat bastard and whatever it is. Look, it's not my thing. If you want to do, disaster chants or whatever it is, it's not necessarily mine, but football has always been related around something or another, whether that's Leeds fans doing the aeroplane to Man United, or, Swansea, whatever, doing it to Cardiff, Liverpool fans getting abuse, etc., etc., etc. It's not my thing, but it is whatever, it is. But unfortunately now you will get banned, and clubs will ban you. It is as simple as that. I've known the people to be banned through being arrested for possession on a way to an away game, away from a club, away from any ground, being stopped on a train or a station, wherever it was, and their details were given to the club. And because the club has a zero tolerance around drugs, they were banned. So, football is not thingy. But if they do get a football banning order, they won't be able to travel away on holiday anytime England are playing, or even now England ladies are playing. If they do get a football banning order, they will then have to surrender their passport 2 days before England plays. So, yeah. Getting that out of the way, it was only that I was talking about found on the board. Hutch is out for 4 to 6 weeks, apparently. We all knew it was coming.
I've rattled through most of these ones, by the way, Mickey.
Okay, so where the fuck are we then?
We are down at Dan Branch won't lie, stupid thing to do. 9:22 on the timestamp for you.
That one there?
No, 2 above.
Okay, there we go.
That one.
Won't lie, stupid thing to do. My season ticket is down there, and I've never seen them before, so God knows. I've seen different things where people have done stupid things at one game, and it's taken the whole season before they're back at the game, before the club gets old people. So, yeah, a lot of the people who do these things aren't necessarily weekly fans as such, but hey-ho.
Most of them
is
are
what
not.
It is, so yeah. If spreading hate is illegal, then the Leicester fan who filmed it and put it on Twitter should be nicked. No. Unfortunately, we are probably the most filmed fan base in the entire world. And unfortunately, there is an awful lot of our fans who, if things kick off, want to video. There is a big craze and of wanting likes and thingy. Yes, we do goals. Yes, we might film crowd singing, chanting, etc. But we wouldn't be posting bods kicking off or anything else, because all you're doing is basically, depending how good your phone is basically providing old Bill with evidence to nick your pals or nick rival fans. So I'm not really against filming shit like that. So yeah, it's what it is. Baffling considering we lost our own chairman in a tragic way too. Yeah, but on the same level, do you not think that certain fan bases will give it to us because they know they're trying to rattle us, and they will? It's just one of those things that I don't really take any chance at football being too serious. To be fair, it is what it is. If someone walked up to me after the game or something, can say it to my face, and that's a different matter. But chanting is what it is. So yeah, it is mind-boggling. But hey ho, you can't understand what thingy. Anyone say that Richard? There we go. That's what we wanted. For anyone who doesn't know, Richard Creswell is what's his name? Creswell. What's his name? I can't think of his first name now. Charlie Creswell's dad, and also Charlie Creswell's agent. Saying hopefully he'll be getting some games now. Charlie in the Millwall kit. Fingers crossed. Leeds people I've spoken to, Leeds shows I've spoken to, reckon that they're not going to be looking to get him out. But hey ho, fingers crossed. I'll have him back all day long, wouldn't you?
I think I would go all out to try and get him, whether it be a permanent's probably unlikely, but on loan, do whatever you can to try and sign him, because the fact of the matter is his dad, being his agent as well, is probably a bit pissed off with the situation. He signed a 4-year deal in the summer. Probably, they've come down into the Championship. He played well in the Championship, probably expected to be playing games. And I don't really understand why they haven't given him much of an opportunity. So I think there'll be a lot of clubs that would have seen, or scouts or agents, whatever, would have seen Cresswell's dad's post, and you've got to be asking the question, I think, because I think from his point of view, and obviously Charlie himself, he clearly wants to play football. So if someone wants him, they'll probably jump at the chance to get him first team football at the moment.
No, that's it. No, I see that. I totally agree with that. Neil, yeah, I agree with you, mate. David Taylor, our keeper, was to blame for the 2 goals yesterday. Poor performance.
I do disagree with that, to be honest. I think he made some very good saves throughout the course of the game, kept us in it. The way Edwards wants to play with a bit more of a higher line, keeper a bit more involved with the play. I think overall yesterday Sarkic's distribution was quite good. There was 1 or 2 slightly dodgy ones, but I think that's even quite common, to be fair, for keepers at the top level. But I think the way he wants him to play, sweeping, playing quite high, you're always going to be quite open to possibly that happening. I wouldn't have put money on Leicester being, of all teams, the team just to play one ball straight through the middle of our centre halves, to be completely honest. So I don't think I can really blame Sarkic for that.
No, I think Sarkic probably, the second goal looked a little bit suspect. It looked like he got a hand to it, should have got a hand to it, and didn't. But the third goal, some people were saying that what was he doing? If he doesn't come, the bloke's got a 1-on-1 anyway, so he might as well try it and come out. He doesn't get the ball. He doesn't want to get a red card, so he can't really bring the guy down. But damned if you do, damned if you don't. If he doesn't come, the bloke runs through and scores probably anyway.
That's it.
And
David.
Good evening,
Omar.
For those listening on the podcast, Omar has now joined us.
Good evening. Hello, guys.
Evening.
How are we?
All right. Yeah, not bad. David, yeah, no, that is a thing. It's a new thing, what we're trialing. You should be able to skip them anyway, but yeah, not everyone will get it. But obviously, where we don't take your money, some people might get an advert, some people might not, but it's something we're just trying. So, yeah, if it gets too much, let us know and we'll stop them. But to be fair, I normally see when an advert's coming, but I was having a rant at the time. So, yeah, I didn't see it. So, yeah. You say, look, Daily Mirror didn't didn't get it. It depends, I think, on your age group to probably what it is. So if it's an erectile dysfunction medication, then that probably says more about you than it does about us. So, yeah. Where surveillance is a sign of the times, Mickey, mate. Even Millwall bods now have their phones out, like you say, and I've never been a fan of it myself. No incrimination comes from no evidence. Not very wise. Absolutely agree with you. Anyone watched the Chelsea game? That Gilchrist we're linked with started, looked okay.
Yeah, he did. To be fair, he got a lot of plaudits as well from Lawyer fans.
I just think the fact he's now in their first team squad, are they maybe going to be a bit more reluctant to loan him out than they maybe were 2 weeks ago?
But it was an FA Cup tie against a team in the league, in the division, but in the Championship. So
yeah, possibly. But he's also been in their squad and had some substitute appearances in league games for the last few games as well. So I don't know. I'm kind of sceptical about that. I mean, if there is something there, given it looks like we've got a bit of a defensive injury crisis at the moment, I'm all for it.
I do like Baz's, he's wishing well there that Leeds won't lend out Creswell to another promotion rival. Yeah, that's great. So yeah, a lot of
I've just missed the Creswell talk. Did we talk over his dad tweeting on doing the Instagram story? Did we mention it?
Yeah, we did. Yes.
Interesting take,
yes.
Right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, what's your views on it? Go on, you say it while we go through this.
Well, it's obvious that I think he wants to move. It's just whether or not Leeds will let him go. But it sounds like they're trying to angle for him to get his agent is anyway. Him and his dad are trying to get him away from the club. So the problem is they signed their life away, didn't they, in the summer? So he's got a contract there. Like, it's not going to be easy to get out of. And there's a sense of the club will probably hold him, or they'll let him go. Let's let him leave for the right price. But you can imagine after the back of signing a new contract, being homegrown, being England 21, there'll be a fair price on him to cash in on. Really, I think.
No, that's it. You see, look, MFC for life. You just know Creswell will join Borough and loan this week, and we'll get Todd Kane just in time for next Saturday.
Todd Kane rumour. I know where it started from because I saw him yesterday. But I can't see Todd Kane join us. Surely not.
I can't.
I can't see it. I can't. I said it yesterday as well. I'm like,
it's just such a random one. I mean, just obviously we're all go on, Stephen.
Sorry, Dan. Just on the back of the Cresswell thing, the other thing with him, when you say there about him signing a contract in the summer with Leeds, the fact he had a successful loan spell in the Championship, they dropped into the Championship. You must think that he must have been promised game time. He must have been promised something to sign a 4-year deal. And to be just completely shoved out the door, it's a really baffling situation. I will say, I do think funds might be a stumbling block for us, but I would, whatever we've got available for him, I would try and do it.
100%. 100% agree with that.
Would you do it if he's the only player we could bring in this window?
I would personally. If you think it's progressive, if you're thinking we should be all right this season and it's a step forward in improving that starting 11 for the long term, surely. No?
On a permanent, yes. Yeah. On a permanent, yes. If you can get him on loan, then obviously not. You can't use up loan fees and stuff. But if there was a hint of signing him permanently, then yes, I would.
I don't know if he has much power in it, but I imagine he wants to come to us as well. I mean,
yeah, I would say if they say to him,
I think he probably has he probably would want to come to us. I feel
if they say to him, you can leave on loan. These are the clubs that have been offered. You'd hope he might turn around and go, well, the Millwall want me. If not, can you pick up the phone to Millwall and see if they want me?
No, I totally agree with you there. I think, if we can have him, then we'll have him. And if we can't, then look at focusing on someone else. So
that's it. If you're not going to get him and you've got no chance, then you've just got to forget it, move on. But clearly he's unhappy with his situation, so there could be something. And again, it might only be a loan, but I certainly think there could be something. Something.
Do you think it's on the Creswell thing? Sorry, but also like you see this comment from Jimmy, like you're talking about 3 million, and the assumption there is can we afford that? What do you think is like a realistic stretch that Millwall can go to? I know it's January and they say it's a hard time of year, but like is there?
We was willing to do 2.5 for Nisbet in January last season, wasn't we? So
I know there's like books to balance and FFP, and we're normally quite tightly run like ship, so to speak. But what is the question there? Like what can it be? Would that be what is our budget, or what's the realistic thing we can stretch to? I don't know what you boys think on that one, but it's an interesting observation. That one.
I don't know how much money we've got to go to, but I do think there possibly. I don't know if it was in our group where we were saying it, but I do think there's something to do with FFP or something with the constant scene we're promoting this sellout constantly. whether or not I don't know how FFP works or whatever. I know it's all based on income, but yeah. Joan, is that Joan?
Joan Dollard.
Joan Dollard, thank you very much. Welcome. Thank you very much for being a new subscriber. Hopefully you join us each week. The man underneath me is Omar. He's my partner in crime who I started this with, but he is quite elusive. And the fact that you are watching this for the first time and you've managed to actually see Omar is amazing, because
maybe
there's quite a few people
for that reason. The comment came in afterwards,
that's it. Maybe there's few people on here who've possibly never seen Omar. They know we refer to him, but they've never seen him before. But today he's here. He is here.
What can I say?
That's it. Got to bring in at least 3 loan and 1 permanent. Chris,
can I jump in? Can I jump in there quickly, Mickey? Just on.
No, not really.
Cool.
Am I allowed to?
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. You wouldn't get this sort of unprofessionalism on Lions TV, would you say? Yeah. Sorry. No. Go on. Off you go.
I'm going to bring up another one of Jimmy's comments quickly. This is one position I don't think we really need to sign, to be completely honest, the centre midfielder, because obviously I think Honeyman had a good game yesterday. I actually think Billy Mitchell had quite a good game yesterday as well. You take into consideration Saville's still suspended, Casper's been back in training. I think centre midfield's definitely a position that we're well stocked in and somewhere that we don't need to really be looking too far into recruiting further. I think that can be money or loan slots or whatever that we can use elsewhere to bolster up in the squad. Maybe right back might have been one of them positions given injuries, but go on, Mickey, we can go back to the other comment now.
Oh, no, it's just shout out to Danny Mack. Very good game. Shut the haters up yesterday.
I thought he had a good game. I thought, to be honest, it's hard to pick out anyone who had a bad game yesterday. I thought it was a good team performance.
Depends who you ask.
No, that's it.
Depends what 45 minutes you watched.
No, that's it. Leeds last season allegedly wanted 6 million for Cresswell. Can't see us getting him for half that. Sell SA for 10, buy Cresswell for 4, and Todd Kane for 0.0001 million.
No, I wouldn't want Todd Kane even if we were paid to have him. So forget that. But that's the other thing as well. If there's a deal to be had elsewhere, would you look at maybe selling one of the assets that we have to reinvest in other players? Is that something we could do? Personally, I don't think the club are going to look to sell. It might be a loan or 2, but I don't think they'd look to sell.
I don't, unless SA comes in with a stupid offer from a Prem club, then maybe. But yeah, I mean, John, thank you very much for listening. Birmingham fan who listens to us week in, week out, and he causes us less shit than Arthur. So, and he posts good comments. Arthur just posts complete shite. So, yeah, apparently Watford are putting a 3 million bid for a League One defender. Aaron Cashin from Derby. Can't see Cresswell being in our budget. Fuck me, 3 million for a League One player.
He's good, but £3 million for a League One player, as you said.
Have you seen how much Bolton want for Dion Charles as well?
I'm going to guess that's probably 5-6.
I think someone said, I've read somewhere saying they want 8 million for Dion Charles. It's like, that's a League One striker. I was
about to say,
the market nowadays. That makes you wonder.
Whose head takes up all 4 squares? You want about Omar? Or I don't. Richard Lacey's there, so I can open that present in a minute, but I think Stephen might cry. And just there, look, all those badges what you have, gents. So you've got that one there, like, yeah. And
I've got mine here, don't worry. Yeah, I've got my other one.
Yeah, well,
here
what he's done is he's made all the key rings. He's made all the badges
into key rings.
Into key rings for you. So Ben, if you're watching, and so yeah, the key rings are all there, boys. So yeah, you can have them. There is a I don't know what we've. There is one for Dan Riggs as well.
Very nice.
So when you see us next down, that one's for you. And I have got one for which I do in the hour mark. So those of you who want to learn from that, so yeah. There's a question for you. Are we safe from relegation? If so, is Creswell necessary for just a loan deal? Signing him, definitely. What's your thoughts on that then?
I think I'm pretty sure Stephen or Dan said it. Like, it's if we are safe, which we're not, but there's no given.
Yeah,
But if it's a loan deal, then yeah, obviously it would plug a hole. But obviously we want it to be a permanent, ideally, isn't it? If we're going to spend the cash.
How much longer can we keep using plasters to cover up?
Yeah, I know you were speaking about Leonard being injured a little while ago when I was on my way back in. But what about him starting yesterday? Because I literally said during the first half, 10 minutes prior to his injury, I can't believe he started Leonard today. And like, because I think we also talked about last week in the chat as well. Obviously, Hutchinson was injured. Maybe we're short on options as such. Don't get me wrong, but I couldn't believe that he started Leonard yesterday, especially with the run of games that we've had and stuff like that. And then fate has it, he breaks down injured. But hindsight's a wonderful thing. Chances of it actually happening, obviously, you never know. But what about that happening? Like, just our luck. But it was big call starting yesterday. I felt like
we could have as well. What's really, really frustrating is we could have not played him and just gone with a 4 at the back: Danny, Harding, Cooper, and Joe Bryan. So there was an opportunity not to do it. Had we have maybe not had the injuries to Wallace and Hutchinson, I think Leonard would have been rested. But as you say, hindsight, I would never ever have played him in that game yesterday. But Edwards did, and now has to suffer the consequences of that. Unfortunately, Edwards has been phenomenal over the last couple of weeks, and you can see us progressively getting a lot better, and we are, and he deserves a lot of praise for that. I thought yesterday he deserved praise for the way that he tried to go out and win the game, but a little blemish over these last couple of weeks was he got that wrong with Leonard yesterday. But you live and learn, and someone else is going to have to step up.
So it looks as if Rowett isn't going to Birmingham. Then it looks as if they're set to announce, according to John, that they're set to announce Mowbray tomorrow.
Good appointment.
It's a steady appointment. Yeah, it's not the name that Birmingham owners wanted, but it's a good appointment.
He's a good championship manager, ain't he? Good at this level.
Did you guys see the South London press reported Atletico Madrid was looking at a Marku even? It's not a Maku. We keep saying a Maku, but it's a Marku, isn't it? Everyone, Cole Bates calls it a Marku.
I love how you've constantly just tried to say how everyone pronounces a Maku wrong, but you've absolutely butchered Atletico Madrid.
That's what I was about to say. Do you want to read that sentence again, Mick?
Atletico Madrid. I was trying to do it for some reason. I was trying to do it with a bit of a Spanish accent.
Well, he's done Atletico. He's done Atletico, so I'll let you off because he didn't. If you put an H in there, I'm sure you would have said it with Atletico.
Welcome back, Omar. Thanks for that.
Miss you too, mate.
Seem to have plugged the leaky defence, but we're not scoring enough. Central forward should be a priority. Good. Mulberry, good appointment in my way. Yeah. Brighton want that cash in. They went after him in the summer. I think they're likely to get him and loan him back to Derby. Interesting. Should we go back in for Sibley even. Fucking hell. I don't listen. Don't just because you ain't been on here for a while, Omar. I've been fucking up names forever.
I'm here for the vibes. I'm here for the good time, mate.
I don't think Sibley's really set the world alight, to be honest.
Out of 4 on the screen, spot the odd one out.
I reckon it's something to do with your lack of hair, personally. Just to put that one out there.
Yeah. Chris that is nailed on, as is Chris Brown's comment as well.
If I'm wrong, but
Chris, be careful. Timeout's coming. Mulberry, good appointment for Brom. Fuck me, we're not a Brom crew.
He is good at his level.
Cheers to the Laces. Yeah. You wait and see what we've got coming up, mate. I think Stephen's going to cry on the hour, mate, or I'm going to cry. One of the others, mate. So yeah,
great.
How did we feel walking out yesterday, anyway, of the game? Out of interest, like,
how did you feel walking out at half time, missing our second half comeback?
I know, I did. I missed the surge in the second half. I had prior engagements elsewhere, which we can dabble into if you really want to, but no. I think personally, like, the vibe after the game seems to be generally positive. I feel like I think having the cup out of the way is probably a blessing in disguise. It feels like, but at the time, I was thinking, let's have a little cut run here, but. I don't know. What do you think, Dan? What was your impression?
Sorry, just to jump in there, the feeling was a good feeling on the performance, but one of the fact that we know that our issues with finances are already, we're very, very tight. And yesterday, just with the news of Amaku and Leonard breaking down, it's deflated a little bit because you're kind of still going into next week. Sav's last game of his suspension as well. Is Denore going to be fit? So that the squad goes from being relatively healthy to relatively weaker.
But one person being
in a
injured
matter
gives
of
an
a week.
opportunity to someone else, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
I think about we keep banging the drum about Roman Esse. I think if Amaku was available yesterday, would Esse have got on the pitch? Probably not.
Maybe
You know,
not.
maybe
No.
that's the opportunity we've all been begging for Esse to get his opportunity. Maybe.
No, that's it.
Possibly, but it's again. I think you're right. You're right with what you say there. But it's that at the back now we've got Norton, Cuffy, Leonard, Hutchinson, and Wallace all potentially out for a couple of weeks, and then however long with Hutchinson and Leonard. It's just in terms of the performance and the way that we played in the game, I don't think we could have asked for much more. It was a good cup tie, and we did play quite well for large parts.
Yeah,
it's just the long term.
Do you agree with this one then, gents? Edward's interview this week where he said any additions need to have athleticism and pace. So hopefully that rules Ted Kane out. And
I'm going to say then what I said to you lads in the group chat. Welcome back again, Ollie Burke. Third time.
Yeah, I said it yesterday for a joke, but I honestly could feasibly see Ollie Burke
I
roll out for the third time for us.
Hold on a minute.
Actually, Omar, I don't think he can.
Did he play for Wolfsburg already? Or
I think he played for Werder Bremen earlier this season.
Hold on a minute. Can we get the Birmingham fan back? If he's still watching, can we just get his opinion on Ollie Burke, please?
Yeah.
If he's still there, can you just do us a little bit of a write up on him?
There you go. Look, Chris. What Chris said. That fella's right. One of them was fan on the board. The other three weren't. Nothing to do with baldism. Thank you. No hairism on this show. Is anyone concerned going into the second week of the transfer window that Joe hasn't got any loan players in yet? Was expecting at least one player to come in during the first week.
I think on the back of 3 wins on the bounce, it eases the need to get someone in urgently. I would say. I think it's kind of, if we lost the last 3 and the pressure was starting to mount, I would have expected us to be a bit more panicky in the market personally. But I think when you've won 3 on the bounce, okay, now he did say yesterday accelerates now the need for recruitment after the injuries and obviously the news of Leonard and Zamaku as such as well. I think we will see more this week and hopefully we get someone in prior to Borough. I'm just assuming, but basically what he said. But yeah, I think because we've won the last 3 prior to yesterday, I think it's eased the burden of trying to get someone in, and that is true. Alex is not
you nailed on there, Alex. Do you know what I mean?
He's also engaged to a twat of a bird, but there you go.
Allegedly. Alex says,
hang on, wait, John's
Ellie Burke dress. I know, we're coming to the comments. Slow down. You're like a little kid on Christmas Eve, mate. Getting your Christmas presents early. Calm
I'll tell you
down.
what, I've got a great Christmas present, my Secret Santa, going off track here, by the way.
So, Ollie Burke does dress.
I was well excited to show this off from my office Secret Santa. Got table football. I did all right.
Cool. How the fuck are we going to play it, though?
I'll bring it down to next time we go out for drinks. I'll bring it along and we can go and have a little game. We'll have a little tournament amongst ourselves.
So, if anyone hasn't seen Ollie Burke's Instagram, it's worth a follow just to see the ridiculous outfits he does actually wear. And he seems to enjoy wearing them. So, don't want any more loans. Let's buy a non-league superstar. Yeah, the guy from Ipswich Town, Aldershot, I'm hearing.
Josh Stokes, I think his name is. He's a good. He is a good player. Very good player.
Yeah. Where it's urgent now, his injuries are piling up. Lads, you can have Ollie Burke. I'll drive him down to Millwall right now. Fucking headless chicken running around. Is all he does.
I mean, at least he runs for him because he struggled to do that most of the time for us. So
yeah, Brum supporters do not for you. Don't watch his TikToks. No. Just one for you all sitting there watching on Twitter or on Facebook. Just a favour, just share this stream. Just press share. Share it out to as many of your friends as you can. Never know, we might get a few more listeners. So, Dan, you tall enough to play the game?
I knew that was coming, but don't worry. It's got age. Where is it? Age 3+, so I can reach the table.
Doesn't answer the question about height, I suppose. No.
No. It's a typical journalist, isn't it? Avoid the question. Yeah. Ollie Burke.
That's a brilliant comment.
Blade villain.
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
That's good.
He's got a nice motor though. Yeah, he's got a Discovery, souped up Discovery, which sounds like a fucking supercar.
Well, he's probably on 20 grand a week, so he could probably
and the
afford
rest, and the rest, I reckon. So yeah, Miss Dan's gift due to a Centre Parks advert. Oh well,
Might probably be more entertaining, to be fair.
There you go. So yeah, sorry, the adverts are trialing because it just helps with the cost to make sure that everything we do gets paid for. So yeah, there you go. Didn't Dan get a train set? Now they've missed out there, haven't they? So
we'll do a Secret Santa among the That Mill podcast boys next season, and I'm sure.
Do you know what? We are going to do something special this month, but the end of this month, as Omar's on, I can say it. I wasn't going to, but I can. The end of the month, gents, to you boys, the 30th of January, 2020 was the first show we did, and we done it with a pal of mine, Pete Hurd, and his boy, and we done a review of the past decade, didn't we? We went 2010 to 2020 and basically reviewed the players and key matches and everything else. And yeah, I can't believe that 4 years ago we finally started with the first one, and then and sort of we weren't sporadic, let's put it that way, at first.
Well, we've gone a long way from sitting in a pub in Chislehurst doing a recording, and there was loads of background noise, mate, to doing this now, I suppose, eh? There you go.
Yeah, I don't know all right edit, I think, to be fair. But,
yeah. Should we dig it out?
Yeah. If you want to listen, go right to the bottom of our shows and you'll see. And since that first episode, today's episode going out, when this goes out to pod tomorrow, will be our 412th episode.
Superb.
So,
good effort.
So yeah, not bad. Not sure if it's been mentioned. I went
AFK.
off,
away from keyboard.
Yeah, what if we go with Richard Criswell's Instagram post? Yeah, we did mention it.
But what do we think of Richard Cresswell's post? I take it. So Instagram post. Well, we sort of spoke about it, but what was your views on it, Omar, as you come in afterwards?
I've already said it, didn't I?
He did.
Yeah, but he might not have been there.
But I mean, Dan, what's your views of it? Obviously, as well in the comments, Dan Branch. But let us know what you think, and everyone else. But obviously, cryptically, it felt like he was saying he's going to be playing soon, and that means he's probably going to be moving away from Leeds, because I don't see him getting that side anytime soon. It kind of felt like a slap in the face towards Leeds, but that means he's probably moving on. But yeah, I mean,
but Richard is also his agent.
Yeah, of course.
So,
that's not my point, though. But even if it doesn't matter if he's dad or if he's his agent, if it's
apparently
some sort of relation to the player, there's going to be some sort of relevance to it, isn't there? So
apparently Leeds to sign in Luke Ayling as well, so that might just push him even further down the pecking order at Leeds as well.
Signing Luke Ayling.
No, sorry, Middlesbrough signing Luke Ayling.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. Connor, don't believe fucking that.
Don't believe everything you read on the internet.
Thoughts on Sarkic from David Turner? I know you just put it on. I think there's a keeper in there that I'm happy to back for now. I wanted to ask thoughts on Joe Bryan, guys, but I don't know if I want to start opening that kind of worms. But I've hold him culpable for the first goal personally yesterday. There's a few players culpable to it, but I don't know if we spoke about the first goal or not. But
we haven't, but we will now. Off we go. Take the floor.
Well, no, because if you watch it back, and I felt at the time live, because obviously it's in front of me at Carbo Lane, he tries to play offside instead of backing Cooper up, and Cooper's 2v1. And I watched it back again today, and I'm like, yeah, it's exactly the same thought again. He's then, instead of trying to push out and help Cooper, who's 2 against 1, he's then proceeded to go from like this edge of the 6-yard line, in a sense, from running sites from the touchline to try and play offside. And he obviously got it wrong, didn't help out Cooper, and then a delightful ball to the back post, and then the players nodded it in, to be fair to him. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a player in Brian, but there's even time in the first half where I think it's a 50-50, there's a counter-attack, goes in for a tackle, and the attacker comes off the better of it and is running through again. You could tell there is I think someone said to me yesterday, Brian's IQ is higher than everyone on the pitch. It might have even been Dan Riggs. You can tell that Brian reads the game very well, but it's just trying to extract that out of him. I'm not going to say he doesn't look interested, because that's not fair to say after a handful of games he's played for us, but I'm still think the jury's out on him personally. I don't know what everyone else thinks.
The first goal, I was in the kitchen as what he was doing. It looked awful for what he was trying to do. He got it completely and utterly wrong. I think there's a player in there. Interestingly, someone that was sat in front of me yesterday, in the second half come out and said the exact words what you just said, that Joe Bryan doesn't be interested. And I must
don't
admit,
have a coffee sponsor.
I must admit, I don't quite buy into that he's not interested, but there's something about him where maybe it's because he's just come back from injury or he knows that he's injury prone. But when he does go into tackles, it's just it's because he has to. It's his job. It's not he's not going all out to try and win the ball. But I think we need to see more of him to judge him. I think there's a real good player and technical ability is very, very good, but there's something not quite right with him. And it might just be confidence in his body and trying to regain some fitness. Hopefully that's what it is.
Is he better than Murray Wallace in that position? For what we're criticizing, I'm sure we'll say yes.
While we were on the topic earlier, though, of Leonard as well, like, in a way, considering we had Leonard, Watmore, and Bryan on the pitch yesterday, we're almost lucky the fact it was only just one of them that managed to escape with an injury.
Yeah, that
I would have liked to have seen Adam Malachi get some minutes yesterday, personally.
Yeah, I think I would have liked to have seen a few youngsters get a chance, but I don't regret. You know what? When I saw the team, I was thinking, oh, here we go, we're gonna have a go. And then this game starts, the atmosphere is drab, and you're like, this is just. It felt like a preseason friendly game. It was like, yeah, Leicester were rightly taking the piss out of the atmosphere because it was shocking, wasn't it? But yeah, I mean, I would like to. In hindsight, I suppose he should have played a few youngsters, but I don't begrudge him starting his strongest 11.
Do you think that some of the youngsters just aren't ready, though?
We'll not know.
That may that may well be the case. And I said this. I've been banging this drum for ages. If you don't play him, you won't know. And in a game yesterday, where realistically, are Millwall going to win the FA Cup? Probably not. It was an opportunity to at least get them first team experience and give them an opportunity to play. But
we were in the final. We were in the final 20 years ago this year.
Yep. Yeah, I know, and you know, one of the best days of my life. But we're not going to win the
25th anniversary then to do it again.
And when was it? Was it last year or the year before? I can't remember now. I did have it, but I can't remember when it was. But we played Palace on this day in the FA Cup third round.
Yeah, it might have been.
And the row we got beat.
Yeah, Elise scored, didn't he?
I think, Omar, back to your point with Wallace or Joe Bryan, I'm going to not answer, but I'm going to divert it back to you. They're both fit next Saturday. Who do you pick to start a left back?
I think because it's Middlesbrough at home, I want us to be a bit more attacking. I probably would start Bryan. If it's Middlesbrough away, I probably would have started Murray Wallace. There's my answer to that one.
Wow.
What do you reckon?
I think
you can see my logic. No, I think you can see my logic too. That I don't start Murray Wallace. Really, to be fair, I think
if he wants to continue with this 5-back system, both players might get a look in. To be completely honest, given the injury.
Correct. Obviously, Bryan is the natural option there, but it's just obviously he's getting the consistent performances out of him. Really,
if he wants to continue with this kind of 4/5 hybrid formation he's playing, is a viable option. Maybe playing Wes Harding as the right back in that Leonard role, who can tuck in to be that centre half, because that's where he's played a lot of his career as a fullback. Mainly was a fullback when he came to us. Is that possibly a viable option? And then you have Cooper and a Murray Wallace centre half partnership. Bryan left back.
Potentially, I think it all depends on availability as well, doesn't it? If Leonard's and Hutchinson and Joe Bryan are all injury prone, should we say? Murray Wallace has gone from not having an injury in God knows how long to now having a couple within the space of 6 to 7 months. So it will all depend on availability. But I think I do like the idea of playing Joe Bryan at home and Murray Wallace away from home. I must say that because away from home, if you feel like you can go and win the game, you can still make the change. That's not a bad shout, to be honest.
I think that's just I think naturally away from home we'll have less of the ball. You know, I think hopefully we get another win against Middlesbrough and keep the feel good feeling going. Really, because I did, like I said, the performance yesterday felt in general, glass half full. So
I'm happy with how we played, but when we lose a game, I can never walk out the ground fully happy.
And also, didn't we when it last time we played Leicester as well? We won 3-2 as well, or we lost 3-2 as well. So
well, it was
to
only
play them twice, and then
this time it was their reserves, but we'll gloss over that one.
Yeah, but to be fair, to be able to still
£8 million striker. Yeah,
but to be fair, to hold them like that
Correct,
ain't bad considering how we were playing 4 games ago.
Definitely, I think Leicester highlighted just I think one of you boys said at the start, they were just more clinical than us. It oozed of the Premier League FA Cup tie when the big boys come down to the Den, where like we might be more in their face, more up for it. You give them a sniff of a chance and they score, and that's it. And you got to give them their due, and that's why they're at the top of the table like they are, Leicester. So no half. Like I just think it could on another day. That first 10-15 minutes. I think Danny Mack had a chance where he controlled it and shot. Nisbet had a chance, I'm pretty sure. Watmore had a chance as well down the right. I was surprised to see Watmore get in the way he did and just kept going. And it's like, like I said, in general, it could have easily been, I think even Dan says at the bottom there, Dan Riggs, it would have been 6-3 us yesterday because the chances, you've got to be positive about that because if you're creating the chances, just need to stick them away.
Yeah.
And
as John says that we can see on our screen, Borough have got a midweek game against Chelsea. They've got a lot of players that are away on the African Cup and the Asian Cup. They've also got a lot of injuries, so it might just be a good time to play them.
Hopefully.
Yeah. And it might be a game where we're not at full strength. It might not be the worst fixture to have from our perspective with our squad struggling as it is.
No, that's it. Just a quick one. I'm going to do it properly this time. We've given us enough time to be able to get it in. Is what we need. That's the hashtag for tonight. Omar is back.
Yeah.
Start putting that hashtag in. You then get yourself into a free draw. All you need to do is put that in the comments wherever you are. I don't know if it will work on Twitter because I think there's still connection issues. So you might have to go to Facebook or onto YouTube if you do want to play. But all you need to do is just hashtag Omar is back, and you will be entered into the free prize draw at the end of the show.
Thank you for that. Okay.
Mickey, can I just say, I know you was building up to the top of the hour. Have you seen the time?
Before we move on, just very quickly.
We weren't moving on, mate. We're opening some presents what potentially could make Stephen cry.
Okay, interesting. I just thought on the subject of injuries and obviously the squad being quite thin, I'm just looking through our fixtures. If I'm not mistaken, our next midweek game, does anyone have a stab in the dark and say when it is?
It's February the 14th. I looked earlier, I think.
What a romantic way to spend the day watching us be at
So we've got one midweek game in February, and then we've got one midweek game in March, and then
that's on my birthday, by the way. Just putting that one out.
I know it is, mate, because I'll see you in Blackburn for that one.
We'll be in Blackburn.
We'll be in Blackburn. But I think it's not a bad thing. I think it's with the FA. The problem is you can't sanction for is the FA Cup draw. If I think who else is in the FA Cup? Who are meant to play on the next FA Cup weekend? That might get moved.
No, we got away with that.
Is it Preston? Because Preston lost to Chelsea.
They lost to Chelsea. Yeah,
even better. So then, in that sense, we've got 2 midweek games. It's not a bad time to, and especially with Joe Edwards being the kind of coach he is, where I think on the training pitch he tries to set his teams up. I do think, and I'm quite positive about this one. Like he's gonna have a week's training with the players, set the team up to have a go on a Saturday. We could really hopefully convert some of these weekends to wins. I think, and I think there's calls for being quite excited. I feel like going into the second half of the season.
And also, I touched on it on the last light of the live on Friday. We've got Middlesbrough, QPR, and Preston in our next 3 games. Middlesbrough hit and miss. They've got a lot of injuries, as we know. QPR are struggling. That takes away. You never know what's going to happen. And Preston have fallen off a little bit from their early season. It's 3 winnable games. If we can just sort of patch the squad a little bit, and also if you do win on Saturday, we look a hotter prospect for any potential loans or any players that might be coming in the door as well. We could, as long as we can put 11 out to compete and the defence isn't too exposed, we've really got an opportunity over the next couple of weeks to push on.
Massively. I do feel really positive about that. I kind of only just stumbled across it now thinking about it, but I think having no midweeks will work in our favour massively. What do you reckon, Dan?
Yeah, hopefully it will give us a chance to get players back into full fitness, which is obviously what we need, and hopefully it will give us a little bit more time to bed in the players that we know that are eventually going to be coming in January. That's going to be two main benefits, I think, of that. So yeah, I think that can only be a positive, and maybe as well actually playing that FA Cup 4th round weekend. I would hazard a guess we're going to be the only fixture. Maybe there might be one or two more other than us. It's a good chance to get 3 points on the board and put a bit of pressure on teams around you to win their game in hand when it comes around as well.
Massively. I agree. Go on, Mickey. You got a gift to open up or something, haven't you?
I have. Thanks very much.
That's it. Let's go.
I don't know what I've done. Here we go. So Richard's given me something with fucking half a ton of sellotape on.
Who's this gift for?
This is, I think, one of them for Stephen. And I don't know. One of them is no.
That just can't really be good, can it?
No. The big one is for us as a team.
Okay.
It's not the real one, but it's one for.
This is how all of us are feeling that we can't see it.
Just turn it off.
I love it.
Turn off the comment, Chris. Thingy.
Brilliant. What a nice gift.
That's pretty cool, actually.
That's good.
Cool.
Yeah,
that's quite cool.
Thank you.
Love that.
Nice one.
I like that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Richard.
That's Richard and Lou. That is absolutely fucking superb. I love that. That's brilliant.
I'll buy you a gift for that one. That's a brilliant gift. Thank you.
Oh, Stephen.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, Stephen. Look. Oh, God.
Unbelievable.
That is. Do you know what though? That is that.
Be careful. Be careful what you say.
No.
Because I'll turn it round in a minute.
That is interesting. That is something.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Are you ready? Are you ready for the other side?
Go on.
You ready?
The suspense is killing her.
I know that's
hang it in the Louvre. Hang it in the Louvre. Hang it in the Louvre. I want that picture in the Louvre.
The comments are.
That's brilliant. I love it.
Yeah. It wasn't going to make me cry. To be honest with you, the fact that there's someone out there that actually takes the time to do that kind of stuff for us is interesting.
Look,
but thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Richard. Connor has put a challenge out for you.
No.
That would be very conventional.
I am going to quickly move this on before we go down the fixing route.
How about that then?
That last comment from Lili and Blue. You did. Thank you very much for saying it was you, by the way, because I was with my old man walking past the Windsor prior to the QPR game. He went, "Omer," shook my hand and walked off, and I was like. Brilliant. Next time, let's have a beer together, mate. Because lovely to meet you. I was just, and I even said I mentioned it yesterday. I was like,
you did to me, yeah.
Yeah,
I did wonder who stole your Apple Watch, though, didn't you? At least you know.
And my old man went to me. Who's that? I went, I don't fucking know, but he seemed like a nice gent. And I was like, okay, yeah. And I was like, next time, let's have a beer together, mate. Because I'm always nice to meet people like that. So, yeah.
I was just having a quick look. You boys might have to correct me if I'm wrong on this. That weekend of the 27th, where we play Preston, QPR and Huddersfield both were knocked out yesterday, weren't they? Or this weekend. So that fixture will be on.
Yeah.
Can I just say a huge thanks to Huddersfield. Usually, I look at small teams getting big teams in the FA Cup with envy. But that was the one team I didn't look at with envy when the title was made. So, Huddersfield, on behalf of football, thank you very much.
Sunderland and Stoke. Obviously, Sunderland were knocked out. Stoke were beat yesterday, weren't they? I believe.
Okay, yeah.
So there's another fixture, and potentially, just looking through the fixtures, I think there's potential for I think there's a couple of teams that drew in the FA Cup that have to play replays. So there might be other games on or off, but there'll only be a handful. But what you touched on there, Dan, the fact that we could, if we do manage to get some points out the next couple, go into that one with other teams not playing, it does give us an opportunity to go and get 3 points and say to teams, right, go on then, match us.
100%.
Yeah.
You often hear it when it gets to the end of the season, there's relegation battles or title fights, and you look at teams with games in hand, and do you think from an outsider's point of view, you'd rather have the games in hand? But if you speak to pundits and managers and stuff, they'd all rather say they'd rather have the points on the board. So get the points on the board and send a message out, I think.
Well, last year, the games in hand situation, I mean, I can't remember what it was for us and having to games moved and stuff and other teams in competitions, but I don't ever think it's ever done us a favour having games in hand. What it didn't when we was under Harris and we got promoted. So I would rather get your games in, play your fixtures, earn your points, and say to the other teams, if you can beat us, so be it. But lay down that kind of challenge first.
Have you seen what Richard said?
Yeah, well, so even on the jacket when that FA Cup run when we nearly got relegated, where we just had Chris Wood first half season, got to FA Cup semi-final, but at least we got the games in hand to win the games in hand. Then we just kept losing, and then we got Derby away, and we relied on Palace to beat Peterborough to keep us up. I think you want them wins on the table, you want the points on the table where you get them early doors.
And even if you're going to go years and years ago, the season we got to the cup final, we were flying and we had to play so many games. I know that when you got to the cup final, players didn't want to get injured and stuff, but it still come back to bite us a little bit. So play your games, earn your points, and see where you end up.
Well, there's some goodies in there. I'll show you those in a bit. But yeah, Richard said, Stephen, look, what he's going to do for your charity is he's going to print you off 20 of each of the key rings, and then people can come up to you on the game and buy them off you, and then obviously you can put that money into your charity. And I'll show you the key rings in a minute, mate. They're quite cool. Of the ones what you're going to get. So yeah, so that's all cool. Points on the table is most important. If you haven't already done it yet, make sure if you want to get into the competition for the end of the show, it's Omar is back. Hashtag Omar is back in the chat, and that will get you involved. Guess who's back? Well, you should be out there nowadays, shouldn't you? Like that.
Oh, actually, I am gonna. I'll do this now because I mentioned this to Mickey earlier, and I'm going to get the listeners so we've got witnesses for this. Omar, we need to record a "Who Are You?" So we need to sort that out. I keep meaning to text you, and I'll be honest with you, I keep forgetting. So
we'll get out.
But we need to do that.
Definitely,
we need to do that.
Definitely.
So people want your Hasbala key rings.
If you want, I tell you what, if you want a Hasbala key ring, Dan, we need to set a fee for a donation for charity for Richard to make another one, or we could auction off the one that he's already produced for us.
There you go. If you want that Hasbala fucking Jim will fix it badge, then it's a bid in the chat for it then for Stephen's charity. There you go.
I don't even think it'll be a bid. I think Dan will be the only person in the comments that will want that. So
I'll start the bidding off with a pair of shoelaces.
What's that, Dan? You've just bet 20 quid, top man. You said a pair. Where I come from, a shoelace is a tenner, so that's 20. Yeah, 20 quid. There,
so what's a shoelace in a tenner?
That's where I come from, mate. Omar.
Yeah, well,
always. There you go. So Dan's bet 20 quid. You need to beat 20 quid now.
Was it Derby away when Sean St?
Yes.
Sorry, Leisure threw his boots into the crowd. Yeah, it did. It did. Someone loved
and they threw him back.
Yeah, they did.
Some of the players were throwing things in, celebrating, and he had a green pair of Nike Tiempos. I'm pretty sure. I remember it. Throws them in, and then straight away comes flying back afterwards. I think I'm boot by boot. I was like, "Yep, sounds about right." I can't believe that Sean St Ledger and Jack Smith and Jimmy Abdul did for the FA Cup semi-final. To this day, Jack Smith,
it's true.
Sean St Ledger and Jimmy Abdul.
It's true. It's true. Absolutely. It's true. Yeah. At least, you see, it could have been worse. He could have said, I wear Nike when I don't. I only wear Adidas or Reebok. So you know what side of the Old Kent Road I'm from. So, yeah. And let's not go on that one again with Omar taking me to the opposition the other week, mate. Not the opposition football team, but the opposition shit pie mash.
Oh, God. I don't want to do this again. We're going to have to do a little pie mash series, mate, and try them out.
I was about to say, yeah, we can get something going with that.
Back on that one.
There's three contenders at the moment. So
I think we're going to finish. I think top half finish, I'll be buzzing with. Top half finish.
I think we'll be like slap bang kind of 12th.
As long as there's something to play for going into the last 10 games where it's like an outside chance, it means we're safe. I'm happy with that. That's what I want this season now at this point. And let Joe Edwards get his philosophy in. I think people were talking earlier, maybe it's a topic to talk about now or in the future, but I think someone said about Cooper maybe leaving in the summer. I don't see that happening because he signed a contract last summer, but I think it is going to be an evolution and like the players will start to leave that don't fit into the style of play. And it will be interesting to see if he does manage to sign anyone permanently this window, who it is, because he's talking about pace and athleticism. But I think we'll learn a lot about what we're looking for as a club in general. Now that Edwards is in charge as well, what type of players we'll be looking for and to identify in the future.
In the comments where you think we're finished as well.
Yeah, where we'll try and finish, and like where we want to get to because we sign players that are certain age bracket and stuff. But I think the type of sign we'll make this window, if we do make any on a permanent, will say a lot about who we want in the long-term future with Edwards.
That's the big thing for me. That's the quite exciting thing to see what players come through the door this window because you'll see. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if you do manage to get someone in from a Premier League club, like the next caliber of player that comes in, that Edwards does have that pull. If you're left with the similar Gary Rowett type signings that tend to come in January, then it's a little bit of much the same. But I don't think it will. On the subject of Gary Rowett, something that I was going to mention. I don't know if you all have managed to listen to it or aware of it. Yeah. Gary Rowett did a podcast with the Second Tier that was released this morning, and whilst a lot of it was around other clubs, he did talk about us and the
last 10 minutes of the podcast.
Yeah,
Millwall talk.
Yeah, just fast. If you haven't listened to it, fast forward it to about 10 minutes ago, and it predominantly talks about us. But one of the comments that Rowett made was when he was talking about the heartbreak of missing out last year, and then he said that when John Berylson sadly passed away, Millwall didn't feel the same anymore. He has a good relationship with James, but it just didn't feel the same. Do we think that perhaps we went into this season, and I actually was talking about this yesterday before that podcast was released. Do we think that what the events of the summer led us into the season being underprepared and a squad was put together that wasn't quite right?
Potentially. I think
definitely a strong element of that.
I've not listened to the podcast yet, or the interview. I will listen to it tomorrow morning, probably when I commute to work. But it's interesting. He says it feels different. It's hard to speculate, and it's terrible, obviously, that John Berylson's not around anymore. But is it maybe John Berylson was quite, loyal, and maybe James Berylson's a bit more, let's get results, and maybe put a rocket up Rowett's arse that Rowett didn't like. I read that when you're telling me that's how I interpret that in my head for some reason. I think Rowett likes a challenge, but to me, I take that as because I think I've heard rumblings. James Berylson seems to be getting into the nitty gritty stuff for the club, and maybe John Berylson was here for 20 years, custodian, and he had people in place that he trusts. James Berylson's now coming going, I don't know who these people are. Let me get to know these people. And maybe Rowett's then kind of thought, oh, fuck me. Like he's now, trying to move the goalpost from what we want and what we had agreed with John. So I think that personally, for me, that's how I interpret that comment when I'm hearing it from you.
I think sorry, Stephen. I think along the lines of what you're saying there, I think John had championship. Let's get comfortable. Let's stay where we are. If we can make a move into the Premiership, then great. But if not, let's stay Championship. And I think James is, I really want to be a contender with the Premiership within the next 3 to 5 years, maybe. And this is where I think we should be focusing on. And I don't know if Rowett really has the skills to be able to take us to the promised land.
I don't even think it's objectives though, Mickey. So I think more so in the sense like we've all had it where a new boss comes in to manage you one day, and you're like, "Fuck me, this person's different." Like, I think by nature, even though it's his boy, James Bell will be very different to John Berylson, and I'm only guessing and speculating, but it does that's how when I'm hearing that comment from Rowett, I take it as, oh God, we're not aligned anymore, and it's not working.
I must admit, I actually sort of on those lines. I actually took it to the fact that I think Rowett got comfortable with John Berylson, and it was a comfortable, easy conversation. It was they'd maybe spoke on the phone or have meetings and stuff, and it was you knew what you were going to get. It was quite a standard thing. Whereas I think when James come in, that what he'd been doing for 4 years has gone out the window, because James is not going to maybe be the person that's going to be on the phone to him all the time or getting it. Do you know what I mean? I don't necessarily think it was necessarily he's got a rocket and things have got to drastically change. I just think the practices around the football club changed and Rowett wasn't used to it, and I think it just unsettled him and maybe the coaching staff around him.
And that will naturally have an effect, I suppose, then on the players' performances, the manager. I don't know. I think the change was obviously needed. We felt it as fans, and I think obviously Rowett felt it too, and what he's said in interviews and stuff. So, yeah. And
what also is interesting from that interview right at the end of the podcast, Rowett plugs a podcast that he's doing himself.
I've listened to it a couple of times.
And he's doing it with the guy who we let go when Rowett. David. Is it David?
He's assistant manager.
Or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he said, I've been friends with him for 10 years. Yeah, we've built up a very good relationship. Built up a good relationship with good friends, yada, yada, yada. And I just wonder, when you hear sort of snippets, and as Mickey's probably favourite word here, allegedly the comments that he wasn't very well liked with some of the players. You put 2 and 2 together, they've stuck together and are now doing a podcast. It's hard to look past and you probably think there was actually something in that they probably did. There probably was issues with him.
He was. And we, I think a lot of players didn't necessarily think he was that great, allegedly, doing fitness reports, dietitian reports, etc. Allegedly. And look, if he was that good, he'd still be here, wouldn't he? But he left on mutual consent. And I heard that he was the only person who I've ever seen leave who thanks a lawyer for helping him mutually agree to leave.
Football moves fast, doesn't it? Like with Rowett, obviously it's 3 months ago now, but it feels like an age ago. I don't know if that's just like
me. I think it's because we have played a lot of games in a short space of time.
Football moves on fast and things get forgotten about very quickly. And like, I think I'm still happy with Joe. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen, but I think that there is a feel-good feeling that I don't know we would have had under Rowett if he was still in now, to be honest. Like, I personally feel glass half full. And it's on the back of 3 league wins in a row, of course it is, but you can see where we're going. With Rowett, it was like, I think it evolved from Harris, and that was it. And then it needs to evolve again. Harris had the same problem when he signed Bodvarsson and stuff in the summer, that window. Matt Smith, Bodvarsson, Conor Mahoney. This is my evolution. It failed. Rowett tried his evolution, it failed, and now we're going on to a new manager, and it does feel exciting.
I also think as well it's interesting that had Rowett had left in the summer, I don't think we would have got Joe Edwards at that point. I just don't think we would have got him at that point, and it would have been a completely different direction. So right now, as of Rowett leaving, James Berylson making a decision to appoint Edwards or the club, whoever it was that made that final decision. We have gone from, with the utmost respect, before John Berylson passed away, the plan was Rowett and him. And now 6 months down the line, it's completely changed and we're going in a different direction. So I think for the better, I think we're in quite a good place. Financially, there's a lot of comments coming through saying, Andrew and Dan and other people saying what size kitty in an ideal world, and can we get more funds? I don't know. We don't know enough about financial fair play. I know it's on a 3-year rolling period that you can only lose a certain amount of money. We've been told in the past by Steve Kavanagh It's public knowledge. It's articles online to say that we're very close to the financial fair play line. So what money we will have available, we don't know. In the summer, it might be different because you'll be releasing a lot of players and then lots more funds become available. But right now, we don't really know. Not expecting it to be a huge amount of money, though.
Thanks for answering the question. What was at the end of the final questions of the show? So cool. Just going through the questions.
I love this as well.
A lot of these questions where I highlight some of the points what you put up through the show, and I want to come back to them towards the end where we're closing down. So they're more based questions, which I think are a good way to finish with. Especially with you boys on. So, Mark Amfit, our first ever comment from Twitter. So, thank you very much for doing that, mate. You're in the history books for that one. Thoughts on increasing capacity of the Den given the regular sellouts this season? Thoughts on there? I don't think they'll do the corners until we've sorted out the regen stuff.
Correct. It's part of the proposal, Mickey, that the club put forward. So I don't know if you. I need to find it. I think if you can Google it,
it's not. It's basically no. It's not. No, it's not. No,
there's
it's
a website.
I'm going to tell you what it was. It's basically renewal said that the club suggested that if they got promotion and whatnot, they would basically look at filling the corners. And the risk of filling the corners would be potentially that it would go to a safe standing arena. That's where, because these discussions were taking place once when I was found on the board, to be fair. And Renewal also, in their proposal, were suggesting that they would reclad everything outside and look at potentially offering funds towards building in the corners as well.
Renewal and that development is a whole new thing to the topic that is not even worth delving into now. But Millwall submitted their own proposal and made their own website, and I've got it here in front of me, AFL Architects, and it mentions potential for 34,000 seats. Correct, but there is pipelines. We're not going to do it now on the back of nothing. You're right, until there's a spade in the ground from Renewal, which that hasn't happened yet, because that's a thing that's just a cloud that's over there sitting. But
we've not even put planning in yet.
Yeah, correct. But Millwall have got proposals and drawings that haven't gone in, like Mickey's saying. But to have Millwall's ground to extend to 34,000 on the back of the new Bermondsey project, so the club will do something, I'm sure, if we start to succeed and long term. But there's a lot of ifs, buts, and maybes there.
I've got a proposal for a mansion on Kings Avenue for when we hit 1 million subscribers.
Don't take away from that. But there is actually something if you Google it and type Millwall.
No, I know.
There is stuff out there to answer that question.
Yeah, I've got the architect site on my thing as well. So yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Who from Chelsea do you think we could get on loan? Remember, Joe has Tuttle's number 2. I don't give a shit. Go on in, Omar. Tell us his name.
Remember, Joe has Tuchel's number 2.
Tuchel's number 2. Yeah.
I reckon we'll probably try and sign Gilchrist. Personally, I think we're going to go.
I think we'll go for him. But the thing is, Chelsea spends so much fucking money on players. I've lost track of who they've even got contracted these days. So.
The whole Chelsea story is interesting as well. This is why I think I back up. I don't know who said. I think it was Steven saying about how he got in the squad and he was playing yesterday, because this is why Gallagher's being linked to Tottenham. Gallagher's the only homegrown player left they can sell on. They've sold all their homegrown players, Loftus-Cheek, Mount, and this is how, to balance FFP, they can then sell him on for 60 million to Tottenham and balance the books and try and sign more players and whack them on another 6-year contracts and stuff.
I was about to say they also whack all their players on 8-year deals and pay for 8 years.
So the Gilchrist thing, I hope we can do it, but it depends if Chelsea want to let him go. But I think it would be a match made in heaven. I think he'd fit in with us, and obviously Joe Edwards is a trusted ex-Chelsea employee, so. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if we go for him.
What positions do you think we'll get players in during this window, if any, gents?
Winger, centre half, striker.
To quote Joe Edwards,
and a left back, maybe.
The defensive recruitment has been fast forwarded, right? That's exactly what he said yesterday, didn't he?
Was it defensive or was it just transfers
on the back
in
of injuries? Yeah, so
he said we need to fast
track. So you'd think we're in the market.
Who would you guys want on loan other than Cresswell at the club?
Don't know who's available. That's the problem. So
ask Aldo.
There's the guy that Chelsea have recalled from Nottingham Forest.
Santos.
Andre Santos. Is it Santos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone like
the first
that.
ever Brazilian player to play down Millwall if we was to get him?
Cool.
That's a great question.
I think so.
We will come back to you on that one.
I'm going to go
go
in and say there's no Brazilians play for Millwall.
I would say that Millwall Holding or
Gaza, if he's in that
chat. Daily Millwall or Gaza will be able to answer that question.
It on that question, who would I like to see on loan? Again, it's really difficult to answer that because, as Dan said, we don't know who's available. But I think I'm going to say something a little bit rogue. I don't know if we're going to get Chelsea players. I think it might be other England under-20 players that may have played elsewhere that may come.
Now, I'm going to also pick up on this because this was something I meant to say. Plymouth recently appointed their new head coach, and they actually went for the bloke who was the England under-20 head coach before it was Edwards. So they've got Ian Foster. He left these roles to go and be Gerrard's assistant out in Saudi Arabia. He's left that to now become Plymouth's new head coach. But he managed that England setup from, I think it might have been under 16s or 17s all the way through to under 20. So that's going to be another club. And I think in terms of budget as well, similar budget to us. So I think that's going to be another team we're going to be, looking at kind of the same players as.
Top knowledge from this chat, by the way. Juan, I forgot about him. The left back. I think it was a winger, maybe a left back. I remember him.
That was years ago, wasn't it?
Knowledge. So pluck that name out from thin air, guys. If you've googled it, then fair enough. But if you pluck that,
he's an
but even Conor Parsons got there first as well. If you've plucked that name out, fair play to you, mate.
Was Morrow Gregors the last successful non-league signing we made?
I can't remember any other non-leagues. Who else have we signed from non-league?
Yeah, we haven't really signed anyone else from non-league. Might have been the odd youth player, but
I can't think of anyone since.
Gregory's the last one. Obviously, Gregory signed.
There'll be one glaringly obvious one we missed out there, but obviously. I'll probably.
We'll get through these starred ones. So So, do you think James Belsham will give Joe a good transfer kitty in the summer on par with what they gave Rowett, or are we on the FFP limit? I don't know, but I can speak to someone to find out where they think we are with FFP. What size kitty secure us a top six? Oh, there we go. That's quite interesting. What size kitty do you think we'd need to secure us as a top six team? 20 million.
Honestly, how long's a piece of string?
That's the thing, isn't it?
If you recruit smart or you spend.
Yeah, exactly. How much did Luton have to spend to build their team? Exactly. I know obviously Luton is.
Yeah. Even Steve Cooper with Forest, they signed the loan players and then they went on a skyrocket. Exactly.
I mean, that's the thing with us. You could sign loads of players and they all turn out to be like Zian Fleming in his first season. If you get 10 of them and they play at the level Zian did, then you probably do it like that. So who knows?
John's come back and said, I still remember Rowett's last game in charge of Birmingham. It was a 2-1 win, but it was the worst game of football you've ever seen.
We know the feeling, lad.
So let's go back through these comments. There we go. So we've got Field of Corners. I think we should be in the relegation. I think we would be in the relegation zone with Rowett. His style of playing, the fitness levels rapidly declining. It would have been inevitable. Do you agree or disagree, gents?
Who knows? I don't know. I think he would have plucked it. I think he would have stabilised the shit personally. I think he would have probably kept us up. Rowett's a decent manager, but we've moved on from Rowett now.
Fill the corners, fill the den, fold the club, Ambler out even. That bloke has never spoken to me ever.
And the Ambler.
Yeah. Most games this year have been a sellout. We must be generating record income. Wasn't there a proposal pre-COVID to increase capacity at the Den?
Correct. That was
I know it was close to being approved. There is, but there's been no planning done. Have renewal broken ground yet? No. And Millwall hasn't submitted plans either yet. And renewal submitted a new master plan 3 years ago on the 22nd of this month.
Yeah, that lads was signed Dewey Floyd and John Oster. Remember, Steve Claridge always preaches this whenever I hear Steve Claridge talk about his time at Millwall. I had Marlon King and Ashley Young in the office waiting to sign for us. And, Marlon King and Ashley Young, 2003, to sign for us, and I got sacked after 38 days in pre-season. Yeah, Dewey Floyd and John Oster. I'd take probably both of them in their pomp.
Do we want safe standing? Not really. Where the fuck would you put it?
No.
Currently, where would you put it?
Yeah.
Because the problem is that realistically, is if you already sit in a part where they're going to put it, and you sit down, would you want the safe standing with loads of people around you standing when you want to sit? So yeah,
I nearly got kicked out of my seat yesterday at Millwall, by the way, because the South Light upper was shut. Grinding my gears. You're in my seat brigade was out in force, and there were fellow Millwall fans that always go and always South Upper. Let's not normalise that, please, guys. Please.
was it original like normal fans sort of going?
Normal fans that sit at South Upper and they go around taking us to get out of the seat in the South Lower. Come on, some reserve seats in the South. If we're Millwall fans, we know this. Come on.
Deary me.
Oh no.
Any truth in the rumour that they're putting a Lime bike parking bay in the car park? Possibly. And
also Lime have their warehouse next door
in Stockholm Road, by the way. Oh
yeah,
they do. It's like we've had
thousands of Lime bikes there.
Yeah. Do you know, that's a good point. I'm going to have to knock on their door and see.
I was about to say we did ask them if they were.
We keep mentioning them.
Yeah. Also, have we mentioned Danny Dyer a bit at the Den yesterday and how?
No, why?
This is the beginning of the end of the club. I'm sorry. Why is Danny Dyer walking?
Well, allegedly. What is
allegedly. What is happening? We saw him outside the corner West Ham come, to be fair. I will say that.
Can I just say one thing, right? Under no circumstances, let's just get rid of this comment, right? Mickey Rank. Under no circumstances is it acceptable to have your picture taken with a vermin cunt at Millwall. I don't care who you are. And the worst thing is there was a Spurs fan come to watch Millwall versus Leicester and then had a picture with Danny Dyer. I know Danny Dyer knows a lot of Millwall bods and he's pals with a lot of Millwall bods. If he wants to come to Millwall, that's fine. And I know that Football Factory is on the verge of the new film being done, and Nick Lowe is a Millwall fan. And I know that obviously when they done the first Football Factory, most of the bods in there were proper Millwall fans, shall we say, without going into too much detail for some of the scenes. So I understand the connection, but allegedly, so I've heard that it's not the first time he's been down to watch us. So yeah, very strange one. If anyone knows the reason for it or can confirm the reason for it, then let us know. Sancho at Forest from Chelsea. Brasilia. Chelsea won't play an experienced 20-year-old at centre-back for the rest of the season. Surely they'll loan him and we're first in line.
Hopefully.
Keep the Den as it is. How I wish we kept Highfield Road. CBS is great.
It's Coventry. Yeah.
But 50% of the time it's not. I kind of come up with that.
Unbelievable shout.
Fred. We had a Brazilian, We had a Brazilian fella from Arsenal a few years ago, left back.
Correct.
Marco Van Basten in his prime. Jean Jr. played for us in 2003. Wasn't he Brazilian? That just looks as if you've Googled that, doesn't it? And then just added in a couple of question marks just to make it look as if you haven't Googled it. Jonathan Panzo being recalled by Forest, played with BNC at Coventry last season. I wonder if he'll put a word in for us. Santos will be here. Yes, Cooper's late foul. Charlie Sagu Jr. of Arsenal, forward winger, can play with both feet. Might get him if Arsenal are happy with Cuffy's development under Joe. Cooper got to go in the summer, probably to Rangers. Santos is coming. Morrow, Sutton manager, good luck to him. Yeah, good luck to you, mate. Smith Cooper. Smith could have been quality if he had a stronger head.
I think he's referencing Harry Smith.
We were referencing. I mean, like Alfie Pavey, didn't he like score 200 goals in like 2 seasons or something for Maidstone?
Yeah, it's Jamie Philpott, I think it was actually.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Ooh, I'm sure I'm going to challenge you guys on this. Alfie Pavey got all headlines in when he was a youngster. I'm telling you right now.
I'm googling it
Go
now.
on, let's go. It was Alfie Pavey, 100% getting headlines. I'm telling you now, he broke all records at non-league level for under 14s or so. Alfie Pavey, I'm sticking my neck on the line on this one massively.
Yeah, Maidstone Dewfranks, Pavey scored over 300 goals in 3 years.
Thank you.
Including 124
Bang.
in his final season.
End the show. We're done. Thank you, guys. That's unbelievable. Thank you.
And now if you look at his CV, he's played for more clubs than Tiger Woods.
Alfie Pavey scored. There you go. I said 200 in 2 years, 300 in 3 years. Alfie Pavey. You're welcome. Thanks, guys.
He secretly loves us. Football Factory was shit, as was Green Street. Only good footy film is The Firm. Gary Oldman. Yeah,
I'll testify to that one.
I know a couple of Millwall fans were in that as well. So yeah, well-known Millwall fans, shall we say, were in that as well. So yeah. Right then, we are done. Where is it? Don't worry, Peter. We won't do it again. We were only testing it. So yeah. Last chance then to get in with your hashtag. Omar is back. You've got about 30 seconds. Gents, we will go to you. Any final words from you, Omar?
Thanks for having me.
Welcome. Stephen, any final words?
Just hope that there's a little bit of activity this week in the transfer market, and we'll see what the week brings and roll on Middlesbrough.
Yeah. Train spotting Dan, any final words?
Welcome back, Omar. And yeah, as Stephen said, let's hopefully we can get a couple of players through the door this week. And I think if we play like we did v Middlesbrough, like we did against Leicester, I think we'll be good value for 3 points.
Yeah.
Who remembers Charlie Hearn? So yeah, mate, all of these come a million miles from when Omar was doing TMP with his puppy. Oh yeah,
mate,
Christ,
a million miles away. That.
Right, we're done. We'll come out of there. We go there, and we will go draw.
Oh, bang. Oh, hey.
Biggie. Biggie, you will be winning one of these key rings.
Mickey, so we can see you properly.
Mikado.
You're hidden behind the badge, Mickey.
There we go. You'll be getting one of these key rings.
Very nice.
Mickey,
do you want delighted with that?
Do you want me to do you want to, because he sits in front of me at home games, do you want me to pick that up?
I'll bring
it on. Big E, I'll bring that next Saturday if you're there.
All right, there we go. That's easy. And Aaron, if you're watching, I'll put your bits in the post this week. Let us know if you like those bits and pieces, and we're done. So yeah, that's it from us. We have to have one of these because it's tradition.
Shut the fuck up, Joe.
And that's pretty much it from us. So we are back next week. This will be out as a pod tomorrow. And that's it pretty much. I was thinking of something to play, but I can't be asked. So we're just going to switch it off, and we'll see you